Welcome to a somewhat blustery Eden Gardens, and today we're going to address a few questions that we frequently have, things that people are a little bit concerned about, think that they need to call in the experts or it's all too hard, whereas in fact I'm going to just show you how easy these things are. First things first, bare roots. These are the ones you find dressed up in the little bags. What on earth do you do with that? How do you plant it? This tree has grown in a paddock for the last year or so, and it's recently been dug up, leaving about 50% or more of its roots in the ground. Okay, and to plant this we need to do something a little bit brutal to start with. As per the instructions, you need to cut off about 50% of the tree. Why on earth are you doing that? Well, because we've left so much behind, we just need to kind of balance up the tree. It does seem very brutal, but the reality is that this tree will shoot away and shoot away better by having it cut off. The reason they leave this on is to kind of protect this whole area, whilst it's in transit waiting to be planted. So with no further ado, we'll just do a quick snip here. Cutting above a node. Okay. And you really need a sharp pair of clean secateurs, and that is about it. Okay. All right. And next, we're actually going to plant this chap. Now this soil here, I have dug over and I've put in a little bit of Garden Mate, which is some fantastic rock minerals with all of the microbes and microfauna that bring that into soil solution. And so we're just going to dig a little hole, my trusty spade. Okay, the hole is going to be about 1.5 times the size of that root ball. There we go. And then pop him in here. And I'm just going to do it that way around. Okay. And around the thing, we're going to actually make a little bit of a bowl, which is where we're going to apply some complete fertilizer. I'm using the fruit blend. Okay, and then bucket of water, H2O, directly from Sydney Water, and that's just to get him started. Each fortnight until Christmas we do the same, and that will get this guy off to a great start. Okay, so we planted our bare root. We'll come back to him in a minute because we're going to do a bit of espalier. Okay, now espalier is the art of growing plants flat against walls, and it really does look very beautiful. It's an ancient craft, been done for literally thousands of years. The Romans did it. The royal families of Europe certainly did a lot of it. The French really got into it. Hence the term espalier is actually a French term or a French word, but the original word was Italian spalier, I think. Could be wrong, Spanish or Italian, but essentially it meant resting your shoulder against something, and it actually referred to the structure that they actually grew the things on. But now it actually means the forming a tree in this way. So people think this is really complicated, but in fact it's not. It's easy, it's very, very space efficient, and it does look beautiful as well. Okay, so I've got 3 different types of deciduous trees here. So I've got apple trees. So actually, it's an Asian pear, rather, a Nashi pear. Okay, and these guys are famous for ESPALIER because they are incredibly flexible. Now I have just sort of rigged this assembly up just to give you the idea, but at home, and the easiest way to kind of do it is just straining some wires between some fence posts. You want the tree to be probably proud of the fence by about 10 or 15 centimeters, get a bit of airflow going on, but just a simple turnbuckle which sort of tightens there, a piece of wire, and I just normally use these kind of roofing nails, roofing screws, so they just sort of stick out a little bit, and then I hook one end around there, and then just to attach the turnbuckle to the other side, and then you just get some tension on. But we're sort of simulating it here. So this is a lovely double grafted Nashi pear. So it's actually got 2 varieties. One they pollinate each other, but one ripens before the other, so you get a longer harvest. And with this, because I've actually got the graft down here, I don't want to put too much pressure on the graft, but essentially what I'm going to do is I will tie it off here, and I use this. You could use old stockies if you want to, but this is a lovely kind of very, very soft thing, so you're never going to strangle the wood. I would sort of tie it on here and then looked to then tie that, and I'll tie that about here. Okay, these guys in the middle I would allow to grow up, and I will actually do them on a probably a wire at about that height, but I'll let those grow for a little while. And the apples and pears actually develop these little side, look like little side branches, very, very this sort of thing here, on which they have that's where they get their fruit buds, and so they work by having these what they call spurs, and the main thing that you do is you kind of thin those out occasionally, but so they grow on spurs, and they really suit this kind of the tier effect, which is like horizontal, and then you'll have another one above it, year by year, probably 2 or 3 tiers is what looks really nice. Now moving across to the fig. Fig is actually my favourite, and with the fig, what we do, or the method that I use, is actually to bring these down to a horizontal like that. I pick two branches that are basically roughly in line with each other. They don't have to be absolutely bang next to each other, because as it matures, you end up with a big sort of crossbar. I normally let them grow about 1 metre that way and 1 metre that way. At the moment, this year, what I will do with this tree is actually just allow these 2 branches to develop. But I don't want too many other distractions, so I'll actually remove that. I'll remove that, and I'm actually going to remove that as well. Oops. But I'll go there. And then what that's going to do is encourage these 2 to grow. Now, generally the one that's tallest will actually grow the fastest, so I'll actually sometimes just bend that one down so that they're kind of the same height, get them to lengthen, and then when they're about 1 metre long, sort of growing at roughly 45 degrees, then I will slowly bring them down to here, and then the magic happens. Each one of these nodes will want to send up a vertical branch. So each one of the nodes. Now we don't want each one to actually have a vertical on it. So what I normally do is go a good hand spacing from the middle. I don't want anything happening right here. And then as I go along, I'll end up with, say, 3 candlesticks on either side. And then what you do going forwards is you let those candlesticks grow up and basically figs fruit on the new wood. And then each winter I just come along and I cut them to a long candlestick for the following year. So that generates new wood and you get heaps of fruit on it. Okay, so figs, if you use the candelabra method on the figs, very, very easy to do. And I might actually do a little video on my one at home just so you can see one a little bit more mature. And then we come to the, so this is actually a peach. I might just take another bit off. And what we're looking to do with this is an informal fan, I think is the way to go with these. And in fact, this year I'm going to just let this grow as it is. But next year I'm actually going to take it off here and here so that I can actually get the start of my big branches on the fan lower down, because you want as much fruit low down as you can, because if you're growing against a fence or whatever, you don't want it to be to start too high up. Now the thing with this, all of the stone fruit, is that all of the fruiting, the flowers and then the fruit, happen on the new wood, or the wood that grew the previous year. So if you look at this, if you look closely here, you can see that this is sort of barky looking, whereas this here is nice and it's either green or pink and smooth. So that is the wood that grew in the last spring and summer, and that is what's going to produce your fruit. So essentially, and these guys are amazing because they really do grow very quickly. So these will produce flowers soon, and those flowers will turn into fruit, and that fruit will be done before Christmas. You'll be ready to eat. And then it will continue to grow on after that. And generally, I'm in the business of keeping it sort of so it doesn't grow much beyond the height of my fence, and not going too far over here. And then as the leaves fall off in autumn, I then sort of tidy up. And what I try and do is get rid of things that are where things cross over and crowd each other, and also I am looking very carefully to make sure that I don't cut off enough of much of this too much of the new wood. But it's a rookie mistake to leave too much on, because you end up with heaps of flowers, heaps of little fruit, whereas you'd be better off to have less fruit but be bigger and easier to manage. So that's pretty much what you have to do for a simple espalier. I mean, there are very, very complicated things that you can do, but once you've got this kind of framework established, it really is less time than it takes to mow your lawn to actually kind of maintain the thing, because it's mostly a bit of judicious pruning. And then probably the biggest task is actually picking the fruit. I do protect my fruit from birds, and it's so simple. If you've got a fence or a wall, a sunny fence or a wall, all I do is I have some little hooks up here, and then I basically float some bird net down, and then on the bottom of the bird net, I tie on these, actually they're little fruit protection bags, but bags with some stones on, so it just weighs it down, so that the tree is covered, but the tree billows out. It's it's not like tight against the thing. It's just well contained. And I just sort of kick these close to the fence, So it's all nicely covered, and then when it comes to picking, so easy. You just, I probably have 3 or 4 of these little bags. I pick up a couple of the bags, throw them over my shoulder, I'm inside, and I pick away. And things like the figs, it goes on for months of picking. So ESPALIER, it does look beautiful, and if you go online, there's some fantastic designs. Once you've got your eye in, often you realise that it is actually such a beautiful art form, but it's nevertheless it's a very easy to execute and efficient way of actually getting lots of fruit from your trees, because this is a great way of being able to protect them from birds and possums and all the rest of it. So a great technique. Give it a go, and remember, this month we've got 20% off herbs and veggies. So come in and see us and pick your tree, and I'll help you choose it. All right, see you next time.